Yes guys, welcome back to the channel, your go-to place for tutorials, reviews, success stories, with the primary focus of this channel being to save you money. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about densities again. This is leading on from last week's video where I talked about low to medium to high densities, what might be the most suitable for you. Well, today I'm actually going to be going through with you a solution if you find that your hair system is too dense. Now, I've purposely worn one of my denser systems. It's an older system of mine, but I'm going to do a little experiment just to show you that if the density isn't quite right, you can fix it yourself. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to work every single time. It really does depend on the density. If you've got 130% or 150%, you're probably going to need to get a different system. It's just going to be too thick. And even what I'm going to show you in a bit won't be sufficient to basically solve the thickness or density problem. So I've got two items with me today which are super cheap to buy and you can completely do it yourself. There's no real skill required. But before I get onto this, I'm just going to have a quick swig of my tea. To my American viewers out there, if you haven't tried tea, you need to give it a go. It's literally the best drink in the world. Okay, so two items which you will need if your system is too dense and you want to sort of thin it out a little bit. A comb, a fairly wide toothed comb. So I'd always use this side. This side, I'd avoid using this side if at all possible, because the teeth are so closely pushed together that it's gonna pull your system off. It's gonna irritate the glue. It's gonna basically start pulling the system off. It's gonna start pulling hairs out. You don't want that. You want the wider side of a comb. Most combs will have this and what I always do, by the way, is whenever I am combing it, I just hold the front down. I just hold the front down because otherwise there's a risk that it's just going to come up. I'm going to have to rebond again, and I don't want that. That takes time out of my day, which I don't have. So number one, comb. Number two, this is the most important bit. These are called hair thinning scissors. I'm sure many of you have seen them before. And funny enough, when I was really young, I used to have very naturally thick hair, and my mum this is how I learned about it. Like, my mum bought me these to basically thin out my hair when it was super thick. I basically had like an afro. It was crazy. So yeah, these are the most important thing for you guys to get hold of. They're about £5 on Amazon. What is that? $8 American, something like that. If you got Prime, you don't pay delivery. So I really encourage you to go out and get these. And as I said before, there's no real skill to this. You do not need to be a barber. You don't need to be a hairdresser to be able to pull this off. But basically what you do is, God, this is such a thick system, isn't it? Which is why it's so appropriate for this video. And you literally just need to just go at bits like so. And what you'll find is you're not chopping off all of the system, which is great. You're just chopping off bits of the system. So I'm just having a sort of go at, and I can already feel some of that hair that's coming loose. Apologies if the mic gets louder, by the way, because I'm sort of looking towards it now. But look at that. And there will be more. And this is again where the comb comes in handy. So you just comb through and you'll find that a ton of hair is just coming out. Ton of hair. Which is good, because it doesn't actually damage the appearance of the system. It just thins it out. Right? Now, one of the minor drawbacks, I don't consider it a major drawback. I consider this to be like a minor drawback. I'm covered in hair. You might want to wear a t-shirt which you don't sort of wear out because it will get covered in hair. Or you might just want to whack it straight back in the washing machine or straight in the washing machine. But yeah, just keep combing that through. Now, this could take anywhere up to about 10 minutes. It depends on how hardcore you want to go on it. But what you will find is at the base, and you only really notice this at the front, at the base, The thickness will probably remain about the same unless you want to be a little bit riskier and go as close to the base as possible with the hair thinning scissors. There is another name for this, but I just can't remember what it is. If you know the proper name for these, please put it in the comments below, because I'd really like to know. Why am I bleeding? I'm bleeding somehow. That's definitely blood. Crazy. I've cut myself. Don't know how. Must have caught on this. Don't cut yourself, guys. Not a good idea. I'm going to get myself patched up and then I will get back to this video. Yes, guys, so I'm back and I'm patched up. Please be more responsible. I should have had a disclaimer at the beginning of the video. Please be responsible when you are using scissors, even if they are hair thinning scissors and they look fairly inoffensive. So please remember that. Also, I forgot to mention earlier in the video, please put a towel under where, I know this might sound like common sense, but sometimes we don't think about these things and we forget to put a towel beneath where we're cutting our hair, and then we just find a complete mess on the floor, which we have to hoover up. If you have a towel down there, it's great. The hair collects on the towel, empty it into the bin, and then you can wash the towel in the washing machine. That was really painful. Right, back to my tea. That's good tea. Right, okay. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to do a whole demo of my whole head because I don't need to, and I don't wear the system that often anyway. But if you want to start working on the front, because I know that for a lot of us, the front is kind of important, pretty important, especially if you're exposing the hairline. And I'm being mindful that I'm not doing this with a mirror, I'm just doing it to the camera. And it looks crazy because it looks like I'm literally just going at it. But remember, these are hair thinning scissors. Right. This looks like such an amateur job, doesn't it? Very well. Ow. But you can see it doesn't cut the whole thing. That's the most important thing. And I can already feel it's getting thinner. And yes, it looks like a mess. And yes, you probably will have to wash your hair in the shower afterwards just to basically get all of the excess out. But that's fine. At the end of the day, these are only hair thinning scissors. They're not proper scissors. And it shouldn't take too long to clean it up. And just go right across that hairline. I'll also do a little bit at the back for you. Now, I can't see this, I can't see what I'm doing, but you don't really need to be able to see what you're doing when you're using hair thinning scissors. The whole idea is in the name. It's about thinning stuff out. It thins the hair out. It's not actually cutting the hair. It's literally just thinning it out. So what I usually do is I just sort of find where the base is. I just want to make sure you can see that. I find where the base is and then I just chop. Literally, just chop. Like so. And try not to cut myself this time. Just like that. Just around the outer rim. And you can literally do this anywhere. You can do this anywhere on your system. That's the great thing. And all it does is it thins it out. And you will see that obviously there's a lot of hair building up on my t-shirt, which I'm also going to whack into the wash. But it's not like that itchy hair, which is like short, you know, where you go to the barbers and you just get it cut that way. It's not like that, so it's not that itchy, which is good. But I do recommend as well that before you pop into the shower, look at that. Before you pop into the shower, just basically blow drying, taking a t-shirt off, jumper off, whatever, and just blow drying. So I'm just going to do a quick, woo, look at all this hair coming out. And then, as I said, I'm not going to do the whole thing, because it might take a long time, and I don't want to waste anyone's time here. Make sure you've got the comb to hand as well. Use the wider bristles, or the wider teeth, or whatever you want to call it, and just comb through it. Obviously, you'll find a shed ton. I almost swore there. YouTube doesn't like swearing. So, you just take that comb and just comb through it, because there'll be hair that you've basically thinned out that's obviously still within the system. But as you can see, it doesn't affect the length at all, which is exactly what we want. And you just keep doing that until barely any hair's coming out. But please don't use the really thin end of the comb, because it will pull against the glue or the tape. My plaster's coming off as well. It will pull against the glue or the tape and it'll probably pull it off, and you don't want that. I mean, maybe you do want that, but I don't want that now. I don't have the time for that. So if it sort of makes you feel a little bit more confident, then just hold it down there. Just hold it where the scalp meets the system and where the glue or the tape is. And just make sure you're emptying it out. And I mean, there's a ton of hair now on the floor, which I will show you with the camera shortly. But this is why you really want to use a towel beneath you, because otherwise it just becomes a mess. Right, I think I've got most of it out. Just like that. And any excess I'll do later. Look at all that hair. That's all come from just a bit of hair thinning. So there you have it, guys, a nice little solution for you if you find that you've got a hair system and it's thicker than you thought it would be. You just need some hair thinning scissors, a wide tooth comb, and about 10 to 15 minutes. Don't worry about being perfectionistic about it. You don't need to. You just need to thin out the hair. Please don't be scared about doing it. You can't really go too far wrong. If you want to learn more about densities, I made a video last week, which I'm going to whack on the screen right now, which will help you decide what density of system is most appropriate for you. And guys, it literally comes down to whatever age group you're in. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll see you next week. Till next time, bye for now.